Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got a game in the Kagero for you. There's Hellsinger. He's basically a modified Tanaka build. You got Twist and Track on that Halloween Commander. Otherwise, it's the same build as Tanaka. If you want to use Karita for the Twist and Track, that's another good option. You can really run your build however you want on these Japanese Destroyers. Here we're going to analyze this particular game, and then we got a couple minutes at the end to talk about overall strategy and philosophy for the Japanese destroyers. Kind of the most misplayed class of ships in the game. Unfortunately, currently, as a loose general rule of thumb, the more Japanese destroyer players you have on your team, the less likely you are to win the game. And why is that? Because they're not trying to win the game usually, but we're going to talk about that here. So Kagero moving forward, we got a Kaba, we got a Shima on the enemy team, we got some cruisers to look out for, but we're going to move into A here. The role of the destroyer doesn't really change in general. For domination mode, we need to spot enemy ships. We need to counter enemy destroyers. How we do that is going to depend on which kind of destroyer we're in. And we need to capture and control bases. Kind of the main thing that we need to be doing, in fact. So those are kind of almost ordered in terms of the opposite of their importance there. Capture and control bases, counter destroyers, kind of both the main things. Spotting, also important, but a little bit less so. Dealing damage with torpedoes, that's the bonus. That's the icing on the cake, okay? But that's where your average Japanese destroyer gets it all flipped around. They only focus on dealing the damage, and they don't do anything else. And that's when they become a liability for your team. So we're moving in here into A. We need to be keeping an eye on what's going on with the enemy destroyers. The Shima, more dangerous than the Kagero, and the Kaba in a 1v1 gunfight will take us down very quickly. So we're moving in here. We got an Edinburgh behind there. There's the Kaba. Edinburgh potentially could have a radar. We need to keep an eye on whether he's deploying smoke or not. That'll give us a clue as to his build. Kaba's moving there, but you can see he begins to turn. So we're going to launch some torps here right at the edge of the island and hopefully counter him effectively. But again, how do we deal with this Kaba? We don't, and now that we're getting spotted by him, we need to begin to move here. We don't want to fight him, and we don't want to try and beat him in a 1v1 gunfight, especially with that Edinburgh pulling behind us. So immediately we pop the smoke as soon as he engages us. Hopefully our team's going to be hitting him. We get him with the torpedo there, and that kind of turns the tide in this fight. But smoke's deployed, line of sight blocked. We're no longer spotted. We continue to increase the distance here, okay? Because we have about 10k health. He's got about 5k health. My money's still on that guy, not factoring in support ships, okay? So we get a free shot there. We're not spotted. Take him down by about half. Now he's got about 3,000 left. Trying to finish him off. Squirt one more shot over the island there. They also got that Edinburgh, so I think most of the damage was on him. But we need to stay away from both of these guys, okay? We're not going to beat these guys in a straight-up gunfight, but we also don't want to say, well, we only torp. We don't use guns. We can't deal with these guys. We can't do any damage or anything. That's incorrect as well, okay? So it's a fine balance. That's kind of the most difficult thing about playing these Japanese destroyers is knowing where that balance lies and making sure you adhere to it. But we can't just be sitting here torping. We need to be focusing on these caps, and we're trying to get this A cap here. You see, we're responsible for that. They're currently pressuring A. They're currently pressuring C across the way. Our other destroyers over there currently trying to deal with that one. But this is the cap we spawn by. This is the one we're responsible for until they prove to us that red team will not allow us to get this cap by killing all the ships over here or whatever. And then we need to come up with something else to do. But until that happens, and it's not going to happen this game because we're going to dominate this side, we're responsible for this cap, okay? That's the most important thing. The earlier you can get the cap, the more hundreds of points over the course of the game it's going to generate. Doing a little bit of damage here and there, even sinking some ships here and there, not nearly as valuable as the points that are going to be coming off of these caps. So that's the focus. Got some smoke here. We got the Kaba dead. We got the Edinburgh dead. Iowa's moving into support. Now, he's slamming on the brakes. He's not coming in any further. He's seeing, they're kind of losing over here, and he knows there's a destroyer. So we're going to launch right at him and then one behind him. But what are we doing? We're capturing the base, and we're sending out torps while we're dealing with the caps, okay? Not the other way around. We're not torping and then, oops, we happen to be on the cap. I guess we'll try and cap the base. Nope, we're focusing on capturing the base. We're not shooting our guns, so we get reset. We're not getting too close to this guy, so we get spotted, get shot, get reset. Capturing the base as quick as possible, because you can see across the way, even though our destroyer is parked right outside the cap and could probably get on it and stop the accrual of points. Currently, red controls that one. Now, we got a torp on Iowa. Congratulations. We also got a flood on them. A little bit extra bonus, okay? But once again, that's not the focus. That's not what we care about. Iowa just take out the battleship in front of us. But between the fires, the floods, we go ahead and take him down. And now we're not spotted. And now, what are we doing here? Notice those battleships down south. Most Japanese destroyer players are going to take a beeline for them, do circles around them for the rest of the match, sending torpedoes their way. That's how we lose games. You can see we're up big on score. That's because we're up big on ships. But you never know. They can easily sink a couple ships here and there very rapidly. And if they're focusing on controlling the caps and we're ignoring that, well, all of a sudden, now we're going to find ourselves coming from behind and in a position to lose this match. So we either need to go get C, which is an option, or we need to get their home cap D, which is the one they started with. Either one of those is kind of on our target. We don't go through those battleships down south. We don't go through the enemy spawn. We go through the middle or to the north of it. Okay, we need to be surrounded by our ships. We need to be in friendly waters, as friendly as you're going to get in the middle of a ocean battle. But we don't want to be surrounded by red ships trying to torp them. All of a sudden we're spotted and we got 3-4 guys who hate destroyers and they want to kill us as quick as possible. Boom, we're out. Okay, that'd be a mistake. So now we're moving into D. The intention, we're not trying to go south of that island to the left of the screen there. We're going to try and go on the north of it. But look at that. John Bart happens to be in range. He happens to be going in a straight line. We're going to go ahead and send some torps out on him. Maybe we'll get him, maybe not. Doesn't matter. But what we're focusing on is probably just getting on this cap here to the north of the island, stopping the accrual of points on D. If they happen to allow us to capture the base, bonus. Now all of a sudden we got 3 caps generating points, and they only have 1. In that case, it's very, very hard for them to win. Now they're down on ships here. I understand that. You might be saying to yourself, well, go for the style points, go for the damage. But once again, you never know your team. You can see how many ships on our team are broadside. Maybe they'll be smacked here and there, like this John Bart. Got hit pretty hard there, but not a kill shot. And he had the damage con ready to go, so he stops the flood. And now he's moving in here. And you can see he's right on the edge of the detection. We're actually going to get spotted. He's on the cap. Get another bonus torp hit with the flood behind him on the Conqueror. So he's forced to use the damage con as well. Back up, hit the Jean Bart with a fire. That's double fire, actually. That's going to be permanent. But look at this. We need to pop the smoke here because we got stuck on the rocks. Boom, he saw that what was going on. He launches and almost takes us all the way out. We got the smoke down too late. Secondaries coming in. Those could potentially kill us. Got another fire. And then we're going to try and launch one on the Conqueror. And Jean Bart blind fires us there. But we do get fires that are sticking on both of these. So we're going to wind up with about 150k damage this battle. And we only got the 1 cap. So really, in terms of accomplishing our objectives, we did pretty good. Okay, we got the destroyer that was spawned across from us, or we helped deal with him. We spotted him for the team. We shot. We also shot. We hit him with a torp. That's how we're dealing with these more dangerous destroyers as the Japanese destroyer. We're not rushing into them, trying to gun them down and trying to torp them point blank range. No. We need to understand what we're good at. Spotting, torpedoes, and guns that just happen to load pretty slowly. And we need to use those tools to deal with the destroyer. So we did that. We got the cap. So we kind of did our job in terms of our spawn. But we were really trying to increase our overall effectiveness by going into that home cap, snatching that from them. And then that would be the final nail in the coffin. You got 3 caps to 1. You got the huge ship lead. That game's over. Okay, well, 150k damage, that's a lot of damage, no doubt, but that's not the important thing there, okay? So the good things we did, we dealt with our home side. The good things we were attempting to do, snatch that extra cap. If we would have gotten D, we would have gone into C, gotten that one, and then we would have had a really, really high score game. This one's going to be a pretty high score game to begin with, but we would have had upper 3,000s probably if we would have managed to get both of those caps, which would have been a hell of a game. So hopefully you're getting kind of the gist of it. Now the poor battleship, or the poor destroyer players, the poor Japanese destroyer players you're going to have on your team, they're going to be the most common types. Maybe they'll actually deal with A like we did it, maybe not. Sometimes they will, sometimes not. But then they'll go into the enemy's spawn and they'll just sail around there shooting these battleships, trying to torp them. The battleships sitting in the enemy spawns are the least valuable pieces on the red team. So you spending all your time and energy as a very important piece on your team's roster as that Japanese destroyer, you're misallocating your resources, your team's resources. That's not the job we need you to do. That's the least important thing you can possibly do. Stop doing it. Okay. Deal that damage on the way to dealing with the caps, on the way to hunting those enemy destroyers. You know, view the damage as the bonus. You can have outstanding destroyer games with 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 damage, something like that. If you're dealing that damage primarily against destroyers, it's going to score very well. It's going to contribute quite a bit to your team. So hopefully that gives you guys some ideas on how to play those Japanese destroyers. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. We got lots of World of Warships coming all the time for you. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace!